Before we begin today's episode, do yourself a favor. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this platform, as well as hit the bell button to get notification for future episode releases. Oh yeah, and thank you to all 7 of you. Hello, hi, and hey. My name is Reed Mason, and we've got our favorite intruder delight on decks. You are listening to Reed's House. So what we do around here is you bring your newspaper clippings and we talk about everything we can talk about when it comes to reading your stuff. So without further ado,
don't think about what you've left behind, the alchemist said to the boy as they began to ride across the sands of the desert. Everything is written in the soul of the world, and there it will stay forever. Men dream more about coming home than about leaving, the boy said. He was already accustomed to the desert's silence. If what one finds is made of pure matter, it will never spoil, and one can always come back. If what you had found was only a moment of light, like the explosion of a star, you would find nothing on your return. The man was speaking the language of alchemy, but the boy knew that he was referring to Fatima. It was difficult not to think about what he had left behind. The desert, with its endless monotony, put him to dreaming. The boy could still see the palm trees, the wells, and the face of the woman he loved. He could see the Englishman at his experiments and the camel driver, who was a teacher without realizing it. Maybe the alchemist had never been in love, the boy thought.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That was the lovely voice of, what is your name?
Tshepi.
Tshepi. Thank you. And what's the name of the book you read?
It's The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho.
Nice book, yeah. I've read it as well. So how I know Tshepi. Tshepi is the savior. Tshepi was the savior. I'm actually friends. He won't say this. I'm his best friend, but he will not say it that way. Because we got that JSB Josie thing going on. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we met at school and everything. And then when you came along, definitely you were the savior. Yeah, so I know you as the savior. I should save it as that, but I actually call you something else. But you cool, no? You cool? I do have more than just saying that you are his or he's your person, but you are your own individual as well. So Thank you for coming. Thank you for having me. So you're not going to tell us your surname, so it's just Tshepi.
It's just Tshepi.
Is it Tshepang?
Yes,
so?
Tshepang. It's Tshepang, Batshogile.
They have woken. They have come.
No, they're afraid. Shockingly. I know.
Who's afraid of you?
Them.
we must find the thems. That's how me and my sisters talk about my parents. Okay. So Paulo Coelho. I just want to add this part. International. I think you're the first international guest. Yeah. You're not from here. Mm-hmm. You're not from here. Where are you from?
I'm from Botswana.
Botswana. Where in Botswana?
Serowe.
Mm-hmm. That's like 100 kilometers away from where my mom is at in Botswana.
Mahalapi.
Yeah.
See how I know?
Serowe is very small. Nothing was happening when I went there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I think one of the shocks was, also you from Serowe and you read. Okay. Not that they don't read there, just like it's extra. Like, oh, nice. Wow. Plus, there's an international guest, so I'll take it for that. Use an American accent. Maybe you don't feel comfortable that I've got an international guest.
I actually try not to have an accent.
I actually only heard your accent today for the first time.
I don't have one though.
All these years. I was like, oh no.
Do I have one?
You've got an accent, yeah.
Huh. I try not to.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
At least you don't twang.
I try not to twang.
Yeah, Josie hates twangers.
I know.
Oh my God.
I know.
So whenever I had to be around Josie, I needed to change that shit.
He's heard me with my friends and gone, that's not how you talk. And I was like, actually, this is exactly how I talk.
Thank goodness you don't speak like that. Gosh, it was going to be a disaster. I was going to like, yo, Delight, let's cut this.
Let's find someone
I'm
else.
not going to do this today. Oh, no, gosh. Please, no. Sorry. I'll be going on about you. Tell us about you, who you are, where you from, and what got you into reading.
There were always books at my house. My mom had New Science Library books 1 through 10, I think. And then she had the encyclopedia 1 through 24.
All the letters.
All the, and
Yeah.
then there were these fairy tale books. I think there were 10. I think she got them for my brother and I,
Okay.
just to get us into reading. And then my cousins had, I don't know what those books were called, but they would tell you why this does this. Like, it says, why is the coin minty? And then it goes into a process like they wrote. Yeah.
You
but
read Wikipedia before it became a thing?
like Wikipedia books.
What?
And I think my cousins didn't read them, but I just liked them.
Engineer.
Programmer.
What's the difference?
I don't know.
So you consumed all of that stuff?
Yeah, I it's not like I read all the encyclopedias,
Yeah.
but books were always there. And even when I grew up, I just really liked reading. I wasn't a very social person. I didn't go out much. I remember in school, in primary, when you're about to close school, that they don't teach you, they let you run around and play and stuff. And then I went to a public school before, so they would
Yeah, I was gonna say, the American is coming out.
we would clean the class and then stack tables on top of each other and then peg the chairs on one end.
Yeah.
So when people were outside playing, you would actually find me under the tables reading a book.
Gosh. You know what we usually found people doing under tables, and you were reading a book. You're such a nerd.
I've seen that actually. I've seen that. Like I would be so engrossed in the book, and then I'd hear something and go, "How?" And then people are there, and I'm like, "Guys, I'm here. Let me go. Let me." So you.
That's so bad.
Yeah, I've always been a nerd.
Always been a nerd. You're still a nerd now, right?
I am. Glasses and all.
Glasses because you can't see.
Well, yeah.
But you're still a nerd. So you still like reading whatever is available out there.
Yeah, all that.
You remind me of a story of this one. So I only got into reading a little later in my life. So when I was in primary school, they always emphasize read when you get a chance. So this girl I was in class with, and we stayed next to each other. We stayed in the same flats, and she really like did it. Like she was that child that when the parents say sleep at night, she's preparing the bread at 7:30 because at 9 at night you must be in the blankets. And like shut eye, not a joke. So she did that with the reading, and I got so angry with her. Like, look at this bloody reader here. Now we under pressure, and my reading still sucked until I got to 17. Did you have that growing up as well? That like, the reader, that American, that's all she does is read.
Yeah, I used to get teased for always liking to read, but it's not like I read school books.
Yeah.
I didn't like school books at all, actually. I think maybe I was just naturally academically smart.
Yeah.
But
America. I'll stop that. I won't do that for the rest of the show.
I think I don't know. I got teased a lot for reading and not wanting to engage. But also I think it's just I not that I didn't like people, but they just weren't as interesting as the books. I mean, most of my friends now are fellow readers.
Okay.
And then some of them that they have varied interests. Some more social now, but I always gravitated towards people who read.
Nice.
Yeah. I used to have a library card when I was a kid. The library was the only place I would leave the house to go to besides school.
Wow. And now that you're in South Africa, is the library that you
I have a library in my phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You like reading on the
I have reading apps. I mean, it's not as great, but reading apps are actually not that bad because they are literally made for reading.
Oh, okay.
Unlike I use a Huawei and they have a library.
Not an iPhone like some of
Yeah,
us.
not an iPhone, but iPhone 14 is out, so who knows?
14, did you see how much that thing costs?
I saw and I was
My
like,
goodness.
guys, and then no battery still.
Well, that's the point then.
But I think when you have the thing, what do you call it, the library thing, it's not as great. I
Really?
love the smell of books.
Yeah.
And seeing a well-read book, and
Yeah.
and I love big books.
Really?
The bigger, the better.
I hated big books. So you did Harry Potter and stuff?
Yes, I was about to say I read the Harry Potter books.
Books, so it's not just one? Gosh.
Books.
Yeah, I am thinking that readers, we're gonna talk about reading, but it's books, bro. It's not just one. My God. Okay. Thank you for that. If you allow me to start with the questions. Paulo Coelho, The Alchemist. How did you come across this book?
That book specifically, you can just try to open it.
Open it?
No, the beginning, yeah.
Okay.
You see? I got it from my sister.
Oh, that's nice.
So she read it, and like everybody else, she was like, oh, this book is so life-changing and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And that was in 2016.
Wow.
So I've been trying to read it since
2016?
It's
I 6 years now, bro.
I know. I never got past a few pages. I found it so boring.
Why?
And because I don't know, I was just like, the shepherd boy, why? Okay, sheep, sharp. I never got past a few pages. And maybe it's because it's such a popular book. Everybody hypes it up like, oh, you read it, you will, your perspective will change. It will change the trajectory of your life. What? And I'm just like, I mean, okay, it's just a book. And then clearly it's not just a book. It's
not just a book.
So I've always said, okay, I'll read this book. I'll read it out. But I never got past a few pages.
Yeah.
And then recently, I was like, let me see. Maybe the problem is me because everybody says it's such a great book. So let me see.
Yeah.
And I kept reading. And then I stopped. Again. And I was like, oh my God, this book is terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it. And then I tried again.
Yeah.
And I kept reading. And then next thing I see, even 2 parts. Cool.
Yes.
And then I finished it. And I was like, that was actually a great book.
Don't say, I'm upset. So you said it's from your sister. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to read this, but
you can read it.
Please. I'm so shy. I don't like reading for people. I can read for my baby.
Okay,
but that's about
let
it.
me do it. What she wrote in here is of omens, luck, coincidence, and God's will.
Hallelujah.
Spirit lead me. And then she wrote her name.
Spirit lead me.
Oh, I love that song.
Yeah, so
yeah.
When I was deep in the yeah, that was my track, like crying kind of track. Like, oh, this is the one. This one goes in. So it's nice that they gave you this because the book also does cover a little bit of that.
Yeah,
as well.
it does.
Did your sister read it?
She did.
When she gave it to you, was they the stars in the eyes?
She read it and she had been thinking about relocating back home, and then she read it and she left. I don't know if that had anything to do with it or it just solidified her decision. I don't know. All I know is she wanted to go home. She read the book and next thing she's like, I'm actually going home. I'm quitting my job and I'm moving back home.
Oh, wow.
Which she did.
Home is?
Botswana.
Oh, yeah, America.
Now she's now she's there and married with kids. So
oh, wow.
It
so
was
this book did that for her. You feel because it came within that time.
Yeah.
I've come across so many of the people that have read this book, and I only got it out of peer pressure. I didn't get this book because oh my not? Paulo Coelho. So I came across it the same way anyone would have. Did you know about the book before your sister?
I had heard people talk about it, but I thought it was a self-help book, and I don't like those because
Ugh.
I feel like, okay, maybe I am not one to talk about them because I don't actually read them because I feel like they're one-dimensional. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah.
But I don't read self-help books, and I thought this was one
Oh,
of
yeah.
those.
So you missed it
Yeah, I
completely.
missed it, and then I realized it's actually a story, and I enjoy stories.
Yeah. Before I get to the last part where I tell you what I think about the book, that
I
it
know
was
what
nice
you
that
think about the book.
let's don't say it. the it to when I was done, it's like that's the best thing about this is that it came in the form of a self-help but in a story. And I think we're allowed to do that sometimes. Because sometimes it's not always, wake up in the morning and it's not that what I want to see. I want to hear someone that hasn't been given an identity because he's called the boy
The
throughout.
boy, yeah.
Yeah, so that got to me. I also don't like self-help books.
Yeah. Did they actually say his name?
They never say his name.
They didn't.
No, he's known as the boy.
Huh. Really? There's no name.
Mm-mm. Even the Alchemist doesn't have a name.
Yeah, that is so true. I didn't even notice that.
You see,
Hmm.
I wanted to say that part. But please, please.
But you're actually right in what you're saying that self-help books should come in the form of stories because then I would read them.
It's what makes the Bible very good. Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of self-help and all these kind of things you need to follow.
Mm-hmm.
And it's added with stories. So the stories make what's in the Bible worthwhile.
True.
Yeah.
True.
So you find that's why people that like the Alchemists are usually people that also are okay with the Bible. Because it is, definitely
Yeah,
a good book.
there's a lot of spirituality in it, but not in
sure.
a shove it down your throat kind of way,
Yeah,
which
quite
I
true.
really liked. Not that they would sneak it in, but they would work it in such a way where you're like, oh yeah, because I do read the Bible, but I
Yeah.
was like, oh yeah, where you're like, oh yeah, I should actually read the Bible more.
Yeah.
In that kind of way.
Or read it differently than how you were
Yeah,
reading
or maybe I don't know.
I just recently finished the story of Samson.
Oh, look at you. I didn't know you read the Bible.
There's nothing wrong with the Bible. I just, I'm just me. There's nothing wrong with the Bible. So I read it. I'm like, very good story. Delilah, we got you. I'm seeing you. We're counting the years because it was soft. I think if they make a movie of it, it would be better. They tried, but it was a disaster.
They tried. Yeah.
I think they should have they must get someone to rewrite it. And not claim it, because you can't. But can you? Because most love stories are still Bible-centric.
That's true.
Yeah, so I have that problem with the...
There's I don't know, I think it's a song or maybe a sermon that I heard where someone says basically not really the story of the Bible in its entirety, but what we learn from it is that the greatest love story ever told is from the Bible. Jesus. And I found that really nice. I've never been into...
Americans don't do that?
I've never been into Shakespeare.
Serious?
Yeah, you'd think, but the whole... No, I read 12th Night, but for school.
Oh, you didn't do...
I did literature, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was great at it.
You don't do...
I was the best student in my class. I know nobody asked, but I'm just saying,
Yeah, you made us away in the beginning. Like, guys, I'm an engineer because look, I was good at school.
It made high school really great.
That you were smart.
No, that we had literature.
Oh, they didn't have it in primary school.
They had, okay, like we had in junior school, I had moral and religious education, right? Where we got to, these were the ones I enjoyed, where you get to write essays.
Yeah.
Okay, those were great. But then high school, I had literature in English and it was amazing because we got to read books.
Yeah.
And then you get to talk about them and write, okay, this is what I learned. And these are the questions. Oh, it was I
amazing.
loved it.
You're the first person actually on here to ever say that you liked literature.
I did. I liked it so much. After high school, I wanted my cousin who lived next door to find me the question papers. The ones that come after.
Yeah.
I was like, please, but then he refused because it was too nerdy of a thing.
You're being weird about it.
Yeah.
That's the problem with you nerds.
I know.
You guys like to be inside the skin of
we
these
don't want it
things.
to end.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah. Okay. No, thank you. I didn't know that you were into literature. All this time you never... But I am going to ask as to something you said earlier on. You like literature, especially because you got to write essays. Last time when we were chilling here and drinking as we are doing right now, you said that you were a writer.
Oh, yeah. I changed my stance on that. Thank you for bringing it up. I actually thought about
what
it.
Happened?
It's been something that I've been thinking about. You know how people see you read a lot and then they interact with you and they're like, oh, you're so interesting and you should be a writer. So, I mean, not that I don't write well, maybe because I'm well read and maybe speak well. I don't know. I feel like, in school we had book composition. Yeah. Those were great. I enjoyed those. Yeah. I don't think I'm a writer.
Why? What happened? What did you read of yours that made you revert?
No, I read my stuff and I enjoy it personally. Yeah. I think maybe people equate reading with writing and think they're on the same level. I think I know I enjoy reading way more than I enjoy. There's so much pressure with writing. Make it interesting. Oh, it has to also accommodate Joe, but also Thabo. Yeah. And, don't isolate Kuma. Like, the pressure. No. Yeah.
What's the last thing you wrote? What was it about?
Oh, I wrote about the dream that I had this morning.
You wrote today about the dream you had? Oh, snap. Can I ask? What was the dream about? Did I have money in this dream?
The reason I wrote about it is because I realized I have dreams and then I forget about them. So someone suggested I start writing them down.
Oh, yeah.
That I don't forget. I dreamt that I was with my boyfriend and we were in some kind of under some tunnel bridge thing. It was a bridge, ne? Yeah. We were on top, but there was another one on top of us. Yeah. We're in an underpass, but there were also people passing below. Yeah. And it was an Alex. And I only know this because I saw where we crossed and I had once gone there with my friend. Yeah. And it was dark and my boyfriend was using his phone to light. And I was like, you're using an iPhone to light. What if we get robbed? And he walked ahead.
iPhone users. Ahead. Shout out, Kuma.
And then I lost him and I was scared.
Oh, yeah.
I came out. And then when I come out, there are people sleeping there. And I was like, okay, yeah. Because the ills of black people bother me. So, okay, I come up on the other side. And the last taxi leaves. And I'm like, oh my God, what are we going to do? But also, where is he? And I don't see him.
Yeah.
And then I go to these men. I think they were the taxi marshal people. Yeah. And I'm like, have you seen this guy? I start describing him. And he's sitting right there. Like boyfriend. There were 3 guys.
Boyfriend is right there.
Yeah, there were 3 guys. The one stood up. 2 were sitting down. He's the 3rd one sitting there.
Not
and I'm like,
anything. You could have just said.
You left me there and then did you forget?
iPhone.
He's like, no, I knew you were coming. And then I woke up and I was so mad at him.
In like now?
Yeah, like in real life. I looked at him and I was like, but like, Alex, and then did you just forget that I was... But the way he said it was like, no, but you were right behind me.
Oh, yeah.
Well, but I was mad because how did you know? Exactly. But I mean, I made it. So clearly he was right, but I was just mad.
And so how did you write this? Did you write, it began in the dark?
No. I wrote it the way I just described it to you.
God, get back to the reading. I was so fascinated when you told me you were a writer. I was like, okay, now that I know she's a writer, I want to actually get your stuff. and see how far we can push your writing. Because I know some people that are writers, they're more readers than they are writers, but a lot of us are what we call journalists. What we journal our thoughts, we journal what we
Is
think
that what
is
a
ideal.
journalist is? Someone who journals their thoughts?
What do you call what do you call
But then what do you call someone who...
Yeah, what do you call someone that writes on a journal daily? Is that a journalist?
I don't think they're called journalists, though. I don't know what they're called, but
you're
aren't
journaling
journalists
your
reporters?
You know,
Maybe it's American TV.
America. Yeah, God bless America. Okay. Would you, if given the opportunity to say that dream you had, write it in like a book, would you do it? And I mean, again, the pressure would start with it needs to accommodate the reader. It needs to have a storyline, because we now need to figure out why boyfriend leave you?
Why were we there in the first place?
Actually, are you guys going there soon? Did you guys go
there?
No. Okay. So
I don't. Maybe it's like premonition.
Oh, maybe not. It's just a dream.
Maybe it's just a dream, but who knows?
Write it down. I'd prefer that. Already, I don't know the book. When you title it and stuff, I know it's going to be better than how I find this book.
Like I said, we know how you feel about the book. No, I think because you know how in school they would start off with like a sentence in the middle.
Yeah.
And that's how she died.
Yeah.
And that's how I ended up Kai.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to write a whole composition. I loved those.
You love those?
I did.
Is there one you remember that stood out?
No.
Where you know I wrote something good?
No. What I remember is I would sometimes forget my English homework, like that we have it. Like I would enjoy the lesson so much and then forget the homework.
Yeah.
And then just before the lesson, I would see the teacher walking down and then I'd start writing. And then by the time she gets there, I'm done.
Are you serious?
That's how I knew that maybe I could do this writing thing. Before I decided I'm not a writer back then in high school.
And do you remember the stuff you did write?
I mean, it was okay.
Just okay.
I personally don't think it was great. I think I just had a great imagination. And that, I was quick with the pen. But I don't think that means that I could be a good writer. It just means,
What makes a good writer, though? I mean, essentially. Because this would tie into my actual next question is, as a writer, how do you then judge other people's writing? Do you judge it like the rest of us? I like you said, you know how I feel about the book, but as a writer and having gone through this book 3 times, and now... Yes, 3 times,
finishing
right? Or 4 times or 3 times?
Finishing it for the first time.
Finishing for the first time. So, how do you judge the book as a writer?
I don't know how you judge the book as a writer.
Yeah.
I know how I judge the book as a reader.
Yeah.
And obviously, it won't be the same as how you judge it. Obviously.
I've got good points though. Like, you guys need to hear it. Well, okay, yes.
I think you just need to be able to engage the person enough for them to want to know how it really ends. I think being a good writer is like, okay, not being a good writer, but having good material is the same as when you watch a series. You have to be captured by the first 15 minutes, they say, or 5. It doesn't have to stretch that long. So
I give it a whole episode.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I'm always rooting for,
for
people. I'm
always rooting that it's a good show.
Yeah.
Because it was recommended. And then when you finish that 50 minutes or something, okay, I'm not going to do that again.
I do also give it the first episode. I'm like, maybe what do you call it? The kicker, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Is in the end. Like it's boring until like last 5 minutes. You're like,
it makes me want to do this again.
It wasn't boring. It was just slow.
Yes, like the book.
Like the book, actually, you're right.
The book wasn't too bad. It was it a page turner for you? I mean, finally, when you now you like it.
I mean, I
it a
was
page turner?
motivated.
Oh, okay. And what was the motivation?
You.
Let's hear it.
You
The last time
motivated
you went
me.
in with this book because I was busy.
Yeah,
Like,
I
this
was
book,
like,
this
oh
and that.
my
Like,
God.
Joe is right. Now you're telling me.
It's like
Something
people
else.
should stop recommending this book. Actually, nobody needs to read it or finish it. But no, now
It's good to have in the shelf.
you know what? When people come over, you could like have it on the coffee
Yes.
table, and they're like, "Oh,
Yes.
The Alchemist."
Exactly.
And then
Straight
I
talk.
felt like we have, the pretentious conversations. Oh yes, I
America.
read it, and I could
Changed
not.
my life.
It changed my life. I could not put it down. First of all, and I went and just bought a house.
That's far, bro.
I don't know. The
Really?
setup of the whole thing was
Yeah.
you expected the treasure, and you really wanted to know what this treasure was. I mean, at the pyramids, what could it be? And how? How was he going to get it? And if it was there, then how come nobody else saw it?
Yeah, it means the wind thing at the
Yeah.
end. Or something you're going to do the wind thing. I'm like,
I was
that's not
like,
possible.
I wonder how he's going to do
Yeah,
that.
bruh.
And he was talking to the wind
Yeah.
and the sun, and I was like,
I'm like, oh God.
there's also fantasy in there. Okay.
They shouldn't have done that part.
Yeah, I felt like, maybe are we like, maybe the writer was like,
I'm bored.
I felt like he was like, this is for the bookstore people.
Yeah.
They just don't know where to put it. Which genre are you now going to put it at? Because
Actually.
there's fantasy in there.
Yeah,
you know.
quite.
So
Is
where
that
are you gonna put it?
At the end, put it right at the end. Make a good story and then just mess it up for people at the end.
But
that's what happened to me.
You know what I did learn from it though was that, I mean, the boy was fine. He wasn't looking for anything as such. Until he started needing people to interpret what he was dreaming for him, right?
Yeah.
So I also feel like if maybe he hadn't, he would have still been fine, unless he was really someone with a lot of wanderlust, and then that wouldn't have worked out for him. But if he looked at his life and felt like, I'm okay, I'll just marry whose daughter it is. No, this was before he met Fatima.
The daughter of the guy that he was working at.
Yeah, the guy who would shear the sheep and buy it.
Yes.
Whatever. Yeah. He would have been fine. But if that was all he settled for, he never would have adventured out of where he was.
Would have never gotten this book.
We would not.
Yeah.
Be having our lives changed by the book.
Yours is not changed yet. I think that's what changed my life, is that it didn't change. Like, this book.
Maybe he just started seeing omens everywhere.
All right.
Maybe. I don't know.
You like literature.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely read the book with that in mind, right?
I mean, what do you mean when you say you're in literature?
So when I was in school, I hated literature. I hated school, period. I was in it for sports and girls. And I was good with one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So
is it girls?
No, just like I was good with one thing at a time.
Mm-hmm.
It's only now that I'm better with the other thing.
Which is sports.
Let's
go with that.
Yes, I'm better with sports now. Fat guy. I didn't like all the literature. Didn't make sense to me because you are taught pronouns, figures of speech, onomatopoeia.
Mm-hmm.
So my mind was, now I need to learn that, not knowing that it's an application in the literature you are reading. So I didn't know about setting a scene. I didn't know about playing with words and what it actually means, and puns and pendulums. And what is it called when you read one thing the other way and you can read it the other way again?
I don't know.
Yeah, anyway, there's a word for that. So I didn't get that when I was in school, because for me, it's homework. I only appreciate literature now. And now that I think I can be a writer, but I'd suck so bad. I don't have the patience.
Not.
I'll start very nice with your dream about I started in the dark, and then I'm lost, completely lost. So did you read this book with that in mind?
I don't think so. I feel like I read this book to get to the end because some people says it's a page turner. Fine. I
Yes.
mean, I was turning the pages to get to the end
Oh,
personally.
Gosh.
And
bad.
also reading. I mean, I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
kind of sort of enjoying it.
Yeah.
But okay, I would read this book on my way to work.
Yeah.
Ne? So it's like from Rodiport to Joburg CBD. So it's quite a distance, like almost an hour. And I would read this book.
Wow. And you get quite far, actually.
And you get quite far, but it was kind of a drag,
Really?
though. It was just like, like,
Ah.
bruh, just get there already.
Yeah.
Not that it sucked, but it was just like, okay.
So
And because I have reading apps also.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I need to finish this book in the next 2 weeks. This is a small book
Yeah, it is quite
compared
small.
to
Compared
the
to
books that
the
I read, right? And I was like, I can
Harry
do
Potter
this in like I could do this in like 3 days,
Yeah.
but I started reading it and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna need a week.
Yeah.
And then we moved the date to do this, and I was like,
Yes.
oh, thank God, because I was like, I was struggling to finish.
Yeah.
Not because it sucked, but I had way better stories in my phone.
Oh God.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I need to finish this book so that I can finish the interesting book I'm reading.
Okay. What other book are you reading?
I mean,
The
jeez.
other interesting. So this is interesting, and the other one is
The-
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
More interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did that on purpose. I wanted to see the. I wanted to see the
I'm
literature.
one of those people that are
Yes.
like I try not to be, but I think I
even more
finished it.
lazier than and I
You're
also
lazier than.
yeah. I now do that on purpose, where I do the more and then the er at the end.
You do that on purpose?
I do that on purpose. Same way I got my fonts big, because I know it puts
I
people
try
off.
not to let those things bother me because
Now
I
that I
don't
know it
want
gets
to
to
be
you.
labeled the grammar police, but like
Watch
sometimes
me purposely type
No.
nonsense to you on a random day. Isn't it the other time me myself?
Oh my God. If you started, I would just look at you like, are you okay?
Very okay.
Why are you talking like that? No, I'm
I'll
reading.
be doing it to get on your nerves, though. So don't worry.
I'm reading a book called Storm Over the Caribbean. It's like a sequel to, I think it's one of 6 books. Yeah. I'm trying to read stories less because I'm also doing online courses.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm always reading.
You're
This
always
is the
reading, yeah.
problem.
But this is the problem of being a nerd, right?
Yes.
Ketile.
Well,
You're a nerd until.
I realized I had 6 reading apps.
Yeah.
6. And in each one, I'm reading like 3 books at a time. And I was like, nah, this isn't healthy. So now I have 2.
Yeah.
And my library. So.
And this, do you not prefer just to collect the hardcover books and have them?
Yeah, but when you do that, you won't read them.
I do read them.
I don't.
Like, because it comes with the whole thing. You have a bookshelf.
I'm definitely like, I'm one of those people that if you ask me what kind of house I want to have, first thing I think of is a library and a nook, like a little corner where I'll be able to read. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that would be dope.
Yeah, and a garden.
Yeah.
With one of those chairs, the round ones where you sit, so you can read.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I tried doing that where I live, where on a sunny day you'd go by the tree, put your juice, and so I read with juice. I can't read with the stuff you guys are doing now. So I joke. So I tried that, and I would change where I do it in the yard. Sometimes I'll do it in the sun completely, but of course with the hat, and I'd make it a whole thing. I even dressed better than I usually do to do the reading thing, because I'm not going to be a millionaire right now. I hope if anyone's listening and wants to give me $1 million, let's do that. But I'm not going to be a millionaire out of nowhere and then get this dream space that I want. So I have to do with what I got there. But it got out of hand because I started throwing my books in a box, and then eventually someone bought me a bookshelf, and It looks so nice. Now I want everyone to come to my place because there's
Wow.
a bookshelf.
That's
Yeah,
so
it would have been
cool.
nice if people came to the house and we do it
Yeah.
right there, so that the books in the background. And yes,
That's an idea. But also, I'm thinking maybe I need to start dressing for my books.
yes, it's a
Like a
thing.
whole thing.
Yeah, I make it a thing.
Huh.
I really, really do make it a thing.
Where I live, there's actually like grass right outside the house.
Yeah.
I've been saying maybe I need to do like a picnic. Maybe that's the problem. I'm not a picnic person. I mean, I would come to a picnic, but do you know? No, do you know how when
How
people?
are you?
Okay,
What?
let me defend this, right?
Okay.
You know, when people prepare for a picnic, they dice up the fruits and
Yeah.
then they, I don't know if it's salami or ham,
Yeah.
that meat that curls
Yeah.
when you cut it or something.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm too lazy to do that. I mean, if somebody else was doing it, I would help.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Like that $1 million we all need.
like that $1 million.
Yeah.
Or, you know, there are people who do the stuff for you, and I believe in supporting people. So I personally feel like somebody else should do this, you know, cut the fruit and do the whole meat thing.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I just buy it. And then, you know, they bring the chopping board or whatever it is, they put it on and the whole thing. And I have like this nice towel thing and the grass.
Yeah.
They bring it. And then I just come and read. Don't you think that is...
I like the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because you plan it from the get-go. You even plan the shoes you're going to... I was wearing a floral shirt, guys. And I hate that shirt. But that day I wore it.
But it looked good, right?
Yeah,
With
it
the
did.
book.
Yeah, it really did. I'm sure people passing by like, look at this guy. Like, no one cares about this thing that you're doing. But it was so nice to me because eventually my sister joined me. She started joining me more often. And then eventually it was like, so you don't do this anymore? Like, you know, some of us have iPhones.
Wow.
We could just take a picture, right? And lie to people. I was there for hours.
Wow.
Yeah, but no, I lie. I didn't say that to her. And I do have an iPhone.
I've tried not to say anything. Congrats on
It's-
getting an
thank
iPhone.
you. I was just
I
like,
know.
this
Since
is my-
you
for my
came in,
fans.
you've been wanting me to say something, and I've just been like, nah, I'm not doing it.
I do it for the fans. And watch me. I hate reading on the phone or tablets and laptops, but just because I've got an iPhone, watch me start doing that now.
Let me show you why I say. I mean, this isn't an iPhone that I'm using.
No, of course not. It's 13. Let's not get that out of the way. I'm one step, just one step.
Oh my
I could be
god!
the ultimate guy. and I Apple Store has all the best apps for anything. I'm not saying this to be a douche, or am I? But I'm sure they've got good stuff for reading. I haven't explored that option yet. I'm just a little too stubborn with. I collect books, and I actually do go through them because I have what we termed an accountable buddy. So if I'm reading something, I'll tell someone what I'm reading and keep them updated on it. That way I know I have to finish this because, I mean, we're going to discuss this thing. So I'm happy you finished The Alchemist.
You know, I had to.
But it would make good collection for your bookshelf.
It's going back.
Straight talk.
Yeah. And this time I can actually tell you what happens. Ha!
Yes.
Look at that. Because people have been saying, oh, so what happens? I was like, oh. And then I would always have to come to the back. Okay. So shepherd boy. Okay. There's sheep in there. Okay, cool. Huh.
And then the wind.
And then I'd have to tell you what's happening. And I'd be like, it's about this guy. You know what?
He's with sheep. Sheep, yes.
And it's really interesting. And the ending is great. And he goes to Egypt. That's what I always said to people.
It was bad.
Turns out I was so wrong.
It turns out it's a nice book.
It's a book that is really great.
My bourgeois level went up. Like I said, with the literature. Because only people that are into literature that... the police? Grammar police. So... Finally, you read this thing, I'm like, I know better now. This is not going to work. This is definitely not going to work. And that's really what stood out for me. That this is not working. But like I said, we leave bashing for the end. um, so the next question that I do have lined up, if you don't mind me asking, is how many other recommended books did you read? Because this is usually on the list of books to read before you get to 30. I'm only 29, so don't worry about my age. Books to read before you get to 30. So this one makes every list of books to read.
It does. There's this one. This is the first.
Yeah.
There's also, what's that book? Always Say Yes. Year of Yes.
Year of Yes.
There's Year of Yes. That is definitely on my list to read. And then there's that book that everybody talks about.
5 a.m. Club.
There's that one, but there's apparently it's a psychology book, but not. Oh God, I forgot what it's called. I forgot. It's on Oprah's list.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. I need to find the name. Apparently
I know it. She wrote it with a psychologist.
Yes, that one.
God, we have the name.
Yeah, apparently that one will also change your life.
You know, I ask this because you've been a reader. Yes, not today you're reading, and you're into literature. And I'll stick to this. I'll stick to that. You're a writer.
Mm-hmm.
So you might not go through the same process we are going through when they give us recommended books.
Yeah.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Capitalist Nigga.
Oh, I have read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I forgot.
I didn't like that one either.
I didn't like it either.
Also, we're on the same page here. So why are you pretending like The Alchemist is the best thing I read?
No, it's because I honestly forgot that I read that book. I'm even sure I finished it, but once again. Maybe, maybe the problem is me.
I was not going to say that. The problem is not me, because
maybe people keep telling me. The problem is me.
You're going to like this, the 5 a.m. Club.
That's got people
crazy. There's also the one of how to manage your money like a grown-up.
Maybe I don't like money books.
I don't like any recommended books. I'll put it that way. I read one.
Mm-hmm.
I did that mistake. It was Bill Gates. So everyone listens to Bill Gates. So, I mean, we all had a lockdown because of him. So.
Well, we did.
Yeah, yes. So he recommended, I'm like, you know what? Let me take this. And I found it was 500 pages. I'm like, no, I'm not Bill Gates. I don't have time for this. I don't have money coming in when I'm sleeping. So first judgment on that. But I really don't take nicely to recommended books, because you read them waiting for this thing that you people keep telling us is in there,
that it's coming, and you don't find it, and then you feel like the problem is you. Yeah, that's what happens.
I'm still gonna read the Oprah book though.
I need to. I saw an except. That's how you say it, right? And I was like,
American.
I was like, I don't know.
You're not gonna get it.
Maybe this isn't the page they should have gone with. Maybe I just need to. Maybe I should read the book like I did this one.
Yeah.
Because the page I saw was like.
Oh, I can share a page with you that I follow these people only because I need you need the numbers at some point. But too many people have got too many things to recommend.
Yeah.
Just tell us how you felt about it and why you would recommend it. But some people go straight out. We recommend this. It's helpful. Fortune 500 companies do this because Beyonce ready to change their life. Do this. Oprah did it. And the thing is, I follow Oprah as well. So she's
of course.
So it's to get the numbers. Also, Pretty Woman follow Oprah.
That is true.
So I follow. I'm not creepy or anything
at all. Totally not.
So I don't like recommended books. Do you go through that phase as well?
I just remembered there is a recommended book I want to read. The Shonda Rhimes book. I forgot what it's called.
Oh, no.
She wrote a book that I want to read because I enjoy her shows.
Grey's Anatomy.
Yes.
That I can
I
ditch
stopped
everybody.
watching it, but yes.
Why did you stop watching it?
Oh God, it got. But it looks like it's coming back. This new season looks like the old Grey's. I stopped watching after season 12.
You went that far?
Yes.
Where is it where the Chinese lady left?
10, season 10.
That's when I stopped it.
I feel like that's when it should have stopped.
Yeah.
just keeps going.
Yeah,
And
because some of us watched for her. I was like, I
Yeah.
like that she's a
I
little bit
loved
dead.
her.
Yeah.
She was awesome.
Yeah. And then when she left,
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? I'm
Yeah.
going where the money
It
is.
was bad. Now I think, I don't know if it's season 17 or 18. It's coming back. I saw the trailer. It looked like the old Grays. So I might give it a chance. I'll wait for like 5 episodes to come out, and
then binge
then
watch
I
it.
will not pirate it at all.
Yeah, that's not how to watch shows, people.
Yeah, I will watch it where they play it.
Yes, wait
Wherever that is.
every week for new episode. Yeah, so amazing to
I
wait
will
for these
do
things.
that. Yeah. For sure.
I don't trust Shonda Rhimes though.
You don't?
No, because
Why?
Shonda Rhimes came at a point where we did need diversity in stuff we were watching and reading.
Is she now white?
Yeah, you see,
It's okay to say it. I feel it too. I mean, I don't go around saying it like you do.
I'm
Because
an amazing
I'm a
person.
true fan. I would never say
I love
something
Shonda
like
Rhimes.
that. Oh, Year of Years is actually by Shonda Rhimes.
So that's the book to get.
That is the book that I want to read.
Fantastic. Year of Years. I'm not gonna say yes to anything. Shonda Rhimes can miss me.
This year is about to end. I might just get it. Will I say yes? Who knows?
Who knows? Yes.
Yes, indeed.
I hope it ends on a good note. I hope you don't get that. I'm gonna block your number when you get that.
Why?
Yeah, because you're gonna bring it back to me like, yeah, it was a bad idea to get a recommended book. I don't do recommend. I really hate recommended books.
Yeah.
I've read Half of a Yellow Sun by Chimamanda. And
Really?
I don't read anything else from Chimamanda. Not that I'm not a fan. I think she's a good writer, good
I
lecturer,
do too.
good all of that. But it's too much of the read it. And I'm not purposely being difficult. Just recommended books don't get.
Actually, I wanted to read Half of a Yellow Sun and
very good book.
what's that other one?
Very, very good book.
Americana.
Americana, yeah.
But I read Purple Hibiscus.
How's that one?
That was a good book.
Serious?
Yeah, it was a really good book. I enjoyed it because I knew of her, but not really. And then I read it and I was like, oh, this woman is a really good writer. And then I found out she was really famous. And I was like, I should read more of her books.
Yes.
And I'm yet to.
I can hook you up. Delight has got this on lock.
Really,
He's going to get you a book.
I
Delight
need to read more.
saying yes. as we speak now, he's nodding. Yes. Thumbs up. The issue with following that is I don't like doing trends. So my books, I'd read everything. I did a self-help book this year. Oh my God. What a mistake. What a flipping mistake.
Which one did you read?
Is it Yes to Money or Make Money? How to Make Fast Money? It was so bad. I hated it so much. Because you go through everything. I said, yeah, but we know this. I know I need to be serious. And a lot of us catch that a book said you're lazy. I know I'm lazy. You don't have to.
I mean, you don't have to tell me.
And recommended books have too much of this thing has to change my life. And it doesn't.
Yeah.
You know it's a good idea to wake up early so that you've got more of the day to do things you want. But now that I read 5 a.m. Club, now all of a sudden I'm better than you. So I didn't like that. So that's why I don't do recommended books. So, I mean, from your side, it must be different because you are all these other things. You're American. You're like...
You need to stop. You need to stop.
you actually like reading. And what does help you is that some of us grow up with Reader's Digest and magazines. You grew up with science books.
I used to read. I didn't read the science books.
Why?
I mean, I did,
How did you
but
become
not
an
like
engineer then?
like a nerd, Joe. I mean, read. I was about to say I did read a self-help book.
Yeah, how did that go?
Eat, Pray, Love.
Eat, Pray, Love. What's that about? What's that about?
It is a great book. In fact, it's okay. I'd be lying if I said it's one of my favorites, but it's a book I would read again.
Oh,
yeah, I
does that
wouldn't
not
say
count
that
as a
about
favorite?
other books.
Yeah. We want the name. You wouldn't say that about?
I wouldn't read The Alchemist again, but
Yes.
maybe
Me neither.
maybe I think I read The Alchemist at the right time. Maybe it didn't actually change my life, and but I think in connection to what it's about, omens and destiny, maybe I read it at the time that I was supposed to, because this whole time I kept trying to read it,
Yeah.
maybe for the wrong reasons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah. And now I read it and I was like, that actually does make sense. I mean, it didn't
Yes.
change my life, but it made sense.
It made a lot of sense.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, this is a good book. I said great before. It's great.
Is this a great book or a good book?
It's a great book.
You know,
For
when
everyone
people
else.
look down and rub their nose, I did not have sexual relations with that girl. That's what you look like right now. I went back to watch that interview. I'm like, but Clinton, we can see you are lying. No,
You watched it?
I watched it.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, you can see he's lying.
People have always said that. Though.
Also, what counts is, so all of us on YouTube these days.
Mm-hmm.
So you watch it where someone is giving a comment. CIA, I think former CIA psychologist, what, and he was explaining body language is so important, and that's what the crux of identifying, profiling, and stuff is. And it's like, luckily, it was a very short clip. It's like this was blatantly a lie. And you can see the looking down, the rubbing the nose, the scratching the head, the smile. And that's exactly what you look like when you say, this is a great book.
Speaking of body language, not me, but people have said about body language that when someone doesn't agree with something, they shake their head. Yeah. They say yes with the mouth, but shake their head.
Yeah.
And I have seen that from TV, not the book.
You must hear that it's the book. I'm telling you.
I'm just saying, on the topic of body language, have you noticed that people will say, I'm telling the truth, while shaking their head?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's...
Oh, wow.
Body language.
Now I know how to talk about this book. It is such an amazing book. Oh, God, bless my life. And I would definitely read this again. It is so amazing.
Your body language.
My body language is perfect. Like I said, I'm a nice guy.
Volumes
No. I'm a very nice guy.
about
I'll tell
how
you
you feel about this book.
I will be very honest about this book recommendations. Yeah, sure. I'll definitely change this. I'll change my stance on this. But I mean, if you want the truth about how I feel about this book, I don't mind. But I'm not going to do that now. Before I ask this question, this book, was it worth the hype? Because we know there's a lot of hype around this. Was it worth the hype?
According to me, not really. But it's a good book.
Really?
Yeah, it's a genuinely good book. I think it just shows you that, look, you can go this way. It'll still be fine. But you can also go this way and it might be better. It just might.
Didn't you say it is a great book?
I feel like, okay, so he ended up back where he was, basically. Kind of. Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. But after having adventures.
For Mahala.
But in the end, was it really for Mahala? I mean, when you go on vacation, right? And all you come back with is maybe a suntan and pictures. Was it for Mahala?
That's a good question. That's very good. I remember your person took me to Cape Town. Yo, so nice. And I didn't even come back with pictures. I just like...
But the experience.
It wasn't for Mahala.
Yeah.
He took me bike riding as well. So that was fun. So no, you're right. That's a valid question.
Yeah.
I feel like it was for Mahala because he doesn't end up in love.
He does.
With what?
With Fatima.
Gosh.
Because if he hadn't left...
What I wanted was the first lady.
Really?
Yeah, look, Fatima is like, we know
the
your
one
name.
who can read. Sure. And then she just lives off his stories.
Yes.
What if he runs out of stories though?
He can't. He was stuck with that jewelry boy or jewelry man for 5 years.
Yeah.
And he traversed different continents.
Because they were having different experiences. All he had when he met with the first lady was his adventures with sheep. how they would go to different places to sleep, and then maybe the sheep would be different, but they would just be grazing and sleeping.
Maybe I was just looking for the sex in the book, and there was no sex.
There none whatsoever.
Because I was like,
There was so much conversation.
too much conversation.
Everyone was just talking.
It's bad because that's what me and you are doing. So, like, I wouldn't have brought that part up. But
It was just,
okay. So it wasn't worth the hype, but it was a good read.
It was a good
A very
read.
great book.
Yeah.
So what's higher than a great book? With the body language you used and said great book, what would be better than great?
Better than great would be something that's worth a second read.
Wow.
Ah, that was deep.
Ah, yeah, you can be deep too.
You know?
Yeah. It's when Babes is holding the camera like, I support this. I love you. It's what I was saying. I saw this one thing on Instagram where this one lady was losing her mind because this guy did something. He's a competitor in CrossFit, and the guy won, and she lost her mind. She's not the girlfriend. She's not the wife.
What?
She's not the training partner. She's nothing entirely to him. Just that they were both champions at the same time.
Oh.
So she was hyped up. So I'm only saying this because that's what your person did right now. It's like, yeah, baby, yes. Answer those questions. I'll have your back until.
I didn't know where you were going with this, but okay.
So yeah, you at least you can see that you can be deep as well.
I'm so glad we had this moment for him to.
Yeah.
For him to see. I'm glad.
But I always like asking this question. So I know you're not lesbian, you're into guys. So is it attractive?
How do you know that?
I'm friends. I'm your person's best friend. Yeah.
I could be.
No. It's not likely at all. So is it attractive when he reads?
Yes.
Why?
I like a man who can read.
How does it work?
I like a man who can read. Also, we don't read the same things.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are so different in the things we're different in.
Yeah.
He likes documentaries and politics, stuff that I find boring.
Yeah.
But when he talks about it, it's like, not just that it's new, but it's like, wow, that is actually really interesting. And when I tell him about my stuff, I mean,
do you tell it as good as I'm guessing you tell it? Because you are American. I will stop. But you are into literature and you've been reading for a long time. You've got all these other things, When you tell what you were reading, do you also put in the same fire?
I think he enjoys how animated I become.
Okay.
More than what I'm saying. Like I think he finds it funny how animated I become about these things that to him are just like, But then when I talk about it, he's like,
maybe I should read that too.
Yeah, that actually sounds interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
And then he talks about politics and I'm like, so there's more to it than just robbing people.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So,
Americans have a problem with everything.
Both ways.
Americans have a problem with everything. That is so bad. I mean, when he was reading and you found him reading, did his value go up for you? Like, I'm definitely gonna give this guy a chance. Because he reads, although it's something different, but
I mean, when we first spoke, I could tell he reads.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm his girlfriend now.
Oh, that's why I say you're a savior. He didn't read as much.
I know
he read,
yeah,
but he didn't read as much. And then when you came to save him, hey,
he's a reader now.
Everything was like, I read this book, and this is what they said, but this is my stance. And I'm like, how? Yeah? Come on, stance. You never said that before. So no, you really did save his life, and he's got very good quotes and stuff that he shares. Do you also share books after you read it and say, please read this? I think you're the type of person that might like this or read this.
No, I actually don't do that. You asking me that made me realize I don't do that with anyone.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe because no one is into the stuff that I'm into like that.
Yeah, as long as they're not into this thing.
I mean,
Such a great book.
such a great book. In fact, babe, you should read. He actually said he wants to read it. And
Yes, read it.
this is why it's here
Maybe
now.
you should close his ears.
I've brought it for him. He needs to read the book.
Please read the book. But so now I can't talk about it openly now because
Oh, you can. He'll still read it.
but he's stubborn like that. That's the nice thing. Yeah, so fuck what you heard. Anyway. So yeah, I mean, thank you for answering those questions comfortably.
You're welcome.
I want to now get to the point where what did you not like about this book?
Surprisingly, it felt like a really long book. I personally felt like it just went on too long. And it's not that what was in the middle was unimportant, but it just maybe the problem was I was going off the hype of it. If this was a book that I had just picked up, no hype, no anything, I probably would have enjoyed it more.
Yeah.
Because I never would have thought this is the part that changes my life.
Oh,
Any
yeah.
minute now. This page, right? But now I read it with that in mind. I'm supposed to pick up so much, and I'm in part 2, and
Part 1 didn't work.
I'm still going home and
Being the same
I'm
person.
not going to open it. So I
Oh, gosh.
don't know. Yeah. So
Oh gosh.
maybe the hype around the book was the problem.
Was the problem.
Yeah. It is
I
a good
agree.
book. I mean, except for the wind talking in sun part.
I mean,
I didn't feel it was necessary, but
don't get me started on that part. I hate it.
I'm still going with maybe the author just did it to confuse the book store people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like where do you slot this book? Do you promote it as supernatural, fantasy, self-help, real? Not where do you
Or
and
cuck.
maybe or
I
where
didn't
do
say
you
said that.
I would not. I would never. You just I felt like that's what it was for, because nothing else makes sense to me as
didn't
to
do
why
anything.
it's there.
And just to prove a point to other people that say, ain't like, who are you? Like, I can talk to the sun and the moon. Like, no, you can't.
You can't.
It's far.
Why? Also the truth would have just worked for them, because nobody would have believed them anyway if they just spoke the truth. If they said, look, we're trying to, we are alchemists and we are just out here trying to find answers to the soul of the world and blah, blah, blah. People would have just been like, no.
Yes.
And released them.
Yeah, just like no.
Yeah, no. And they wouldn't have had to now talk to supernatural things.
Which part really did you like in the book? Because I don't want to lie. Mm-hmm. You said you read it, and it's not that bad. So with us, when you can tell a guy's lying, so I can see from the body language that it was such a good book.
Like, I'm really trying to drive that point home. Okay, it was a good book, Joe. This was a good book.
Yeah. But I see that your opinion about it hasn't changed from the last time we had a big talk.
I mean, it's better now.
It's better now.
Last time I trashed the book, and I didn't even get
trashed it.
Like,
so happy.
I didn't even get to page 50. Now, you know what? I liked how this book was really just about exploring.
Yeah.
That's what it was for me. It was, fine, omens and blah, 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 cool. For me, it was just, this boy just took a chance.
He took a chance and he went with it.
And he went with it. Yeah. And even though he ended up back where he was, but not really. I mean, he ended up back where he was when the book started, sure. But he ended up having actually fallen in love, having met great people and not so great people, and saving people in an oasis. And, a guy with a falcon, meeting alchemists. He had an adventure.
Why did they wait for part 2 to introduce the alchemist?
The alchemist.
That's the name of the book.
No. Also, why is it called that? Is it because the boy was an alchemist himself? Because he didn't turn stuff into gold, right?
No.
He didn't discover the elixir. I mean, he saw it. The alchemist showed it to him, but he still didn't get what alchemists did. Even
I'm glad you're asking these questions, because that's why I think it's a great book because of that. They missed it completely.
Yeah,
So would you
I
still
don't
recommend
know.
this though?
If outside of the hype, someone said, "Hey, should I read this book?" I'd say, yeah. Especially if you're traveling. Like if you are on a bus from Botswana to South Africa to Botswana, long distance, you might want to read it. It's not so bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
To be honest, I want to go on and on about how great this book is.
Totally believe you.
But it isn't that bad. I think you're right. You're so right about the hype created for this. It's like the book The Secret. When it came out, everyone thought they've got this thing under their sleeve. And then I read it. I was like, there's no secret.
There's no secret.
Where's my money now?
Yeah, you just have to believe that what you think is going to happen is going to happen. It's like reading the Bible. Like all it comes down to is believe in what you're saying and what you're hoping will happen. It'll happen.
Straight talk.
Just believe in it. Which also fairy tale books tell us all the time. I mean, Disney has The Secret on lock. Just so we know.
I'm glad I haven't read any Disney books.
Speaking of Disney, do you know, now that we're in the, not to divert from what we're talking about, but do you know the movie that we're all hyping up so much, and I'm one of the people hyping it up, The Little Mermaid? Do you know that was in my opinion, the dumbest movie? Because this girl gave up her voice for a boy. Didn't even like her.
Love. And that's what this thing was missing.
What The Little Mermaid is teaching us. Because she should have loved.
Why did you watch the movie?
Oh, I liked the cartoon.
Oh yeah, you're not gonna pirate anything. I forgot.
I would never.
Come on.
Okay, you know what? But for this, the nerve. For this specific movie, I will go to the cinema.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it's like Black Panther. You know, for the culture.
Oh, okay, for the culture, for the hype.
For the culture.
And that's how you came across such a great book.
Such a great book.
Yes, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Everyone must read it. Josie must really read this. I don't want to bash it overly here. I think it was a great book because it missed sex. I think, like, I don't want to lie. So, I see what... I don't mean it like that. Don't get me wrong. I don't mean it in that way. So it's a great book because it does teach you to forward gravity, that you can still accomplish things when you put your mind to it, and don't be afraid. You've got time. You've got the energy. You know, it also does talk about being a nice person. Being a nice person got him all the things he got. Meeting the first lady, finally getting the job, and all those kind of things. He gets a job, remember, with old guy working at an antique thing.
Oh, yeah. Who's the first lady? Oh, yeah.
Yes, the first lady doesn't go back to. Yeah,
the way you were saying it sounded like you were talking about like a movie that I haven't seen.
Yeah, it might as well just go down as a book I haven't read. I've never had to use this book as a reference ever again.
Yeah.
That's the issue with it. And all respect to him, he's a good writer. The best thing he did there was to keep the character as the boy.
Yeah.
That was genius. And you read this like the boy, and you can't help but see yourself in it, because we all have this dream of, one day I want to travel and see the world. And he does that, and that's nice. So, but in any real person's story of travel, there's sex. and that was missing. So like, this my nigga, like no bums. so was one of the things I was disappointed. But apart from that, I think it was an okay book. Okay. I say that with rolling my eyes and tightening my body. It's an okay book.
You know, I do feel like for me, the only, I wouldn't say life-changing, but the only thing that I could point out to that stood out is this boy, against his own fear and all the unknown, did this.
Yes.
Yeah. I found that maybe it did change my life in that, because you were saying you've never had to reference it, but now, because it's been a week since I've read it, and in this week, one time, I was like, oh man, Joe really wants me to do this podcast, and I'm so nervous and afraid. But that boy did go.
Leap of
You
faith.
know, leap of he
Yes.
he just did it.
Yeah.
I mean, on one hand, it's like we all want to know. I mean, if somebody came to me and said, you could be rich, I would follow the instructions to the T.
Yeah.
If life worked out that way, it would be so awesome. If there was just a manual for how to get the thing that you want, because don't we all want to live a very comfortable life?
I want Beyonce.
You know, don't we all just want to know that in the end we'll get the thing that we want, right? If somebody came to you and said, okay, the thing that you want is this, and this is how to get it, wouldn't you do it?
Yes, I would.
But life isn't like that, though, right? Nobody's coming to you and saying, well, Joe, if 1 million is what you really want, needs, this is how to get it, right? But for him, he went to the people to say that to him, and then one came to him. But I felt like, okay, real life isn't like this, right? But because for the sake of the book, people came to him and said, this is how to get it. If as people we acted like this is how life was, like you have all these books and all these movies basically saying the same thing. Just dare it, just try it, just chance it. If we just believed in that if I write it down and manifest it and it'll happen, and we lived like that, wouldn't we ultimately just do the same as the boy and end up with the treasure wherever it is? Because it wasn't a loss that he traveled all the way.
It wasn't,
right? Even though he ended up right back where he was. But it wasn't a loss. It was actually such a great thing. And he learned all these things. And he changed all these people's lives. And it was a really great thing.
He doesn't change though.
He doesn't change.
He starts off as a nice boy,
and he ends up as a nice boy, right? But he also became a boy that opened his mind.
Yeah, that's what travel helps with.
Yeah,
but I didn't need the alchemist to teach me that.
True, but also, you know, he also dodged a bullet. If you really think about it, maybe the alchemist is teaching us that maybe you shouldn't just settle for the girl you happen upon the first time. Maybe go to a desert, see if there are any nice girls there.
There's no nice girls in the desert.
There was a nice girl in his desert.
Oh yeah, you from the desert actually.
This is what I'm trying to tell you.
Oh yeah,
Joe.
so
yeah, we are coming
Josie
down
is the boy.
to you. He is the guy. He's the guy. Went to the desert. Look at him now.
That is happy. Taking videos and baby
and stuff, and you know.
He's refilling
and this
your water,
is what the alchemist was all about.
Yeah, but you were doing that before you finished the book.
I mean, I just want the people to know there are nice girls in Botswana, guys. Go out there.
In America. Explore. Go to America. It's the best place to be. There are nice girls in Botswana. Yes, they are. America's got more.
Joe wouldn't date them, but other people should.
You know, Joe's a big problem.
You know?
Yeah, Joe's got
It's
issues.
fine. It's fine. I mean,
is it a big culture in Botswana for readers?
I wouldn't say for readers as such, but I don't know what I was looking at the other day that made me realize that, you know what? A lot of people where I'm from value things like intellect.
Yes.
I think maybe it's a culture thing for us.
Okay.
Because in Botswana, in all the schools that I've been to, I mean, being smart was cool. It was, I mean, I was popular not because I was doing anything, but because I was smart. I was well known.
Smart.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I was well known because of how smart I was. Yeah. But also maybe because I don't know if out here people do like prize giving ceremonies.
Yes.
They do?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
in the motherland.
In the motherland.
The motherland, it
I
does
don't
happen,
know,
yeah.
but I mean, if you wanted to know as a girl if a guy is really the guy,
Yeah.
you'd wait for prize giving.
Oh, snap.
And you'd see.
That's where I got the girls as well, but for the other thing I was good at. So that's
Look, they also gave prizes for being clean.
oh wow.
Yeah. Like if you were a very clean guy,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that prize was called, but
Being
it
clean.
was there. There was one for how well you spoke. There was
Wow.
best English speaker, which
So
I
you
got.
won everything basically.
No,
Except for being
no.
neat.
In fact, I didn't win for being neat. True,
Why?
because I was always under tables reading
Oh,
all
gosh.
that dust.
I like your story. So innocent. I was under tables. Me, if I say I was under tables, it was not reading.
And my shoes were dirty because I was always going to the library.
Yeah.
So I didn't, polish them up every time.
When I think of it, a lot of smart people I've met are from Botswana. I mean, my mom's there as well and stuff. So you do meet them and they're well spoken.
Yeah.
And especially if you are from an academic
Yes.
place,
Yeah.
you can hear it because
Yeah.
they're so open-minded, so worldly about things. And when you say, yeah, no, I hear you've got an accent. And like, oh, do you speak French? Like, no. Like, and then they go into speaking French. I'm like, they teach French here in this country.
They do,
America's
yeah.
so great.
Whatever you. I learned the French alphabet while
wow.
in school, yeah. I won't say it.
Parlez-vous français?
I don't Francais. I don't.
Josie was trying to learn the other time and he got annoyed with me, but I'll teach one day.
My sister, the one who gave me this book, speaks French.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she learned it in varsity.
Yeah, but she's married and stuff now. I was gonna say, give me the
I
number.
know, man. Yeah.
Let's do this. But
she's
to speak
always
French,
trying to speak French with people.
really?
So
I don't mind. I've got some family that stays that side. And
really?
she can mix with them. Just tell her to look for doctors.
I'll tell her.
All of them, they
I'll
are
tell
speaking
her.
French. So it would work out. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we get to this point now where Delight can ask questions because he says there's such a nice guy, so handsome, and well fed. So we get to the point where I say thank you for answering my questions, and he gets to ask the question or make a comment. Thank you.
This was actually great. I was so nervous.
Hello, Tshepi. Welcome to the podcast. Nice to have you over here.
Thank you.
I'm enjoying your episode so far.
Me too.
In regards to something that you brought up earlier, specifically speaking about writing, if you could pinpoint anything specific, what's the thing that discouraged you the most about becoming a writer? And do you think there's a standard to be met or that it can always be reimagined, considering the fact that books are considered an ancient and irrelevant medium? Thank you.
Wow, that's a very loaded question. Oh wow. What discouraged me to write? I'm not really sure. I realized that I feel like, okay, every time when I read, because there are pages that I follow of writers, and they always write this thing where, okay, people say writing is, oh, you're such a good writer, oh my god, how did you get here? But the writers themselves say writing is staring at your computer screen or your page for hours and hours and only having a line out. And I was like, oh, which is true. I've personally experienced that. I've had writer's block. But I also feel like, writing is so intense and tedious. When you get it, you get it. When it happens, and it's so great. And it comes in such extraordinary waves. Like when you have it, when you have the bug and it's there, you write and it's amazing. But when you can't, you are just there. And I feel like that's just... It's kind of painful when you know that this is something that you're so good at and you love it and you enjoy it and you pour yourself into this thing and you can't do it. I feel like it's such a painful thing. So for me, it's I don't understand why I should put myself through that. Yeah, that's why I personally don't write. I don't know about other people who have the ability to write and don't. But for me, it feels like, why do I have to, if I'm so good at this thing, why do I have to force myself to overcome all these hurdles to be able to do it? If I'm so good at it, why can't I just do it? Why can't, if this is my purpose, then why do I have to struggle? Yeah. Other things come easy, and I'm not even great at those things. But writing used to be so, like the story that I told you, that the teacher would be coming down and I would just write. Why am I not able to do it now? I mean,
Yeah.
why aren't I still able to do it? So I felt like maybe I was good at it then. Maybe I'm not good at it now, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe that if something is your thing, it'll eventually it'll be your thing.
Yes.
So maybe not, let me not say I'm not a writer, but I'm just not writing now.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm not writing now.
That's a good answer.
Who knows about the future? I'm definitely not writing now though. Except my dream in the
I want
morning.
to reread your dream situation. And the fact that it's Delight did ask about the fact that it's an old medium of information. Does that count?
No.
Does it not affect how
No.
whether you write or you don't?
No. I think that writing is an old medium, but it's still one of those old mediums that are still being used today. Like, look at right now, it's Sunday, right? I don't know what time it is in America.
I've got the time here. My time is always set to NASA's time and our time. Yeah. America, yeah.
But really,
United States of America. Sorry.
the new Game of Thrones came out yesterday. What's it called? What? Something about dragon?
Yeah.
Something of dragon.
Yeah.
House of Dragon.
Okay.
The episode, I'm sure, just came out, right? This series is based on a book.
Yeah.
Books, in fact.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. Game of Thrones was
Don't forget
based on a
this.
book.
Yeah.
Written.
Yeah.
And people read it. And if you want to really fully understand how much people love reading, I didn't know Game of Thrones as a book. I don't know this one, House of Dragon, as a book.
Yeah.
But apparently these fantasy series have cult following. That's how they even end up on the screen in the first place.
Oh, okay.
So if there's a book that has this huge cult following, you don't know it, but people are reading it.
Yes.
People are reading it. Authors are making money off of this. And on the other side of the world, not even Africa, but on, say, in America. In Kansas, in Wisconsin.
I was going to say just that.
In Pennsylvania. Somebody doesn't know that there are all these books, but there are people reading them. So books aren't dead. Writing isn't dead. People are reading, people are writing, and people are enjoying this.
Yes.
So I don't feel like, for me, just as Tshepang, oh man, if I'm packing to go anywhere, trust the book is in there, or three. That I won't read, but just in case.
It counts for the swag.
I personally need to have a book, not a book to write in, to read everywhere I go without fail. Because I might just read. And for me, the worst thing would be if I'm somewhere and I don't have a book.
Wow.
That would be the worst. My anxiety would go up. I would freak out.
I thought I had that problem. Because I started really late, of course. So finally you finish university, then you go to start working. And when you have to travel for work, you go on a plane. At first it was I'm trying to get these hands. So I'm going to take this book. And then you realize this flight is 8 hours. And you can push through a book in that time because you've got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right. I also started developing the anxiety because I had a book, one of my more recent trips. I took one book, but I forgot that I was close to the end. And when I was done, I was so distraught.
Yeah.
Like, what must I do with myself now? And I'm like, yeah, you're here for work though. So it's good to take 2 or 3 books.
2 or 3.
Otherwise, you're going to be eaten alive.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
That is very true.
It is a nice medium to escape the world. I know they gave us TV and social media, but the escape from a book is...
It's not the same.
It's not the same. It's the kind of escape that you actually do want to be in. No, that's a dope question from Delight. Like, I wouldn't have thought of that at all, right? Delight, that's why you're the producer. Yeah. That's why
I also feel like, I think sometimes as people, we like to put ourselves in certain boxes that maybe society tries to put us in. Okay, you need to read certain kind of books or books from a certain author. And what I personally discovered is I can't read the same genre over and over.
Oh, snap. I've got that too, yeah.
Yeah, right? It's like, okay, say you're coming off of a very deep, maybe intellectual sort of book where you're like, that maybe that changed my life.
Yes.
Right? The next
after this great book.
After this great book. The next one you're not trying to read is one that changes your life.
Yes.
You're just trying to read a book.
100%.
Yeah. I find myself sometimes, I read maybe a very, very intellectual book that I relate to or not, and I'm just like, wow, that was really great. Now I want a book that is really about nothing.
Yes.
Yeah.
To pass the time.
Yeah.
Now you're reading words.
I want to get into the fantasy.
Yeah.
You know what? Give me, like last time, remember when I told you that I had read a book and then afterwards I just felt like, maybe I just need to read about vampires.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get that too.
I get that all the time. I'm like,
I think that's what makes me a terrible rater of books.
Yeah.
Because I rate books and I usually have bad ratings. You don't want to know how much.
You did say that.
I'm just so bad. And I think that's part of the problem of why I rate bad is because I've got that aspect. You don't want to stick to the
same genre.
Yeah, the same genre.
Yeah.
And you skip. And so you go in having read a serious story about the economical effect of a war, and you gain that information, you start to become a bit more aware, you watch news different, and when you're done, you go read vampires. I looked into her eyes and then glisten in the sun. I'm like, this is pathetic.
Yeah, you're like, oh my God, next thing he's feeding off of her. What?
Imagine.
What about the climate?
Yeah. People are dying and hungry.
People are dying.
Yeah, so I think I should do you give yourself a break before getting on to the next book?
No.
Also, you finish one,
yeah,
you close
I
this
finished,
great
I
book.
close and then immediately I'm like, oh, I need a new book.
Okay.
There's never a time when I'm not reading.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I'm cooking and reading, but there's always a book that I'm going to read or reading at the moment. Yeah.
Wow, where do you get your books?
Everywhere.
But you're online.
You know
person.
that there are libraries everywhere.
No,
like,
I go straight to.
I mean, I don't know where the library is.
They don't sponsor me, so I
now.
can't mention that now.
No, there are always books. It's not like I pirate them, but there are always
not
books.
At all. Of course not. Did you
there
think I thought that?
Never. You
imagine, bro.
I mean, the bookstores.
Don't I go to exclusive books?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I also, speaking of exclusive books, when I was in varsity, because my school was very close to a mall.
Yeah.
When we would go there during lunchtime, and obviously I would pass by exclusive books.
Yeah,
I always got pens, which I found interesting. That okay, I'm trying not to buy a book because I'm still reading one, but I still feel the need to go into the store. So I felt like maybe somebody in that store, maybe in the marketing department, is a reader and feels the way I do, and they're like, sometimes you just need to smell books but not buy them. So Buy a pen.
My sister tortured me with that as well. She told I have the same struggle. Don't take me to a flea market where they sell books.
Where
I'm
there are
coming
books.
back with books.
Oh.
So my sister tortured me the one time and like, I know there's books there. And she held me and I was like, yeah. And I'm talking about the real money to buy whatever because I was ready to spend that day.
Yeah.
But she says, I know you're gonna waste on this, so hell no. And when she wasn't there, I quickly went to go and check. And they had so many books I needed that day.
Oh my God.
I'm glad I didn't buy.
You are?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was gonna waste so much money because I mean, you go to a flea market, it's $30, $50. They had one of these nice space books, a collector's item kind of thing, and that was $500. And I was ready. I was like, Namhlanje is the day. Somebody's gonna die. She caught me right there. She caught me right in my tracks. And so I understand how you feel. You come out with a pen, or you come out with like
I had so many pens.
A book thingy.
Yo, yeah, the bookmark.
The bookmarks,
like,
yeah.
Yo, I had so many things for books because I was really trying not to buy a book until I finished the ones that I was reading. And I'm saying once because I'm always reading more than one at a time.
Oh wow! So you guys are never going to come to my place. That's for sure.
Why? Do you have like
don't
a
ever
bunch
come
of books?
don't ever come to Pretoria to
Do you
chill
have
with
books?
me. Yeah.
Yeah, we won't come there.
Don't come there. Yeah, please.
Would we come to a place full of books?
I'm not gonna tell you where I live because I did the same with the doctor's wife, and when I found out she was into reading, I'm like, no, definitely. When you guys have time, go out. I'll show you guys where I go shopping. And ever since we did that, that's so. When are you going shopping again so that I can get the book? Like you're going to put me in problems with the doctor.
Show me this place so that I know not to go there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I need to just see it so I know to avoid it.
The thing you need to avoid the most of that place is they will have what you don't need.
I need to go to this place just to know what I don't need.
100%. I'll definitely recommend that place. Off air because they don't sponsor me.
Right.
But thank you very much for the time. Now we go to the favorite part of mine where we say, how much did you rate this thing out of 5? This great book, sorry.
Oh, man. 2.5. That's half. That's like right in the middle. That's half in, half out.
So women also do the squeaky thing when they're not talking the truth.
I give it 2.5.
2.5. Why 2.5? What happened?
2.5 for adventure. It's great. I enjoyed it. The other half is like, no.
Not at all.
Yeah, no.
It's a real no from me. I don't want to say how much I got it. If you just go onto my page and follow and like and subscribe. Yes. Yeah, so yeah, I won't. The reason why I didn't want to post this one was because it was going to be controversial. I got into a serious tiff with someone because I didn't like Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I went on and on. I really trashed that book. And like, why would you say such a thing? And then I defended myself. And he found that, oh, this guy's got a point.
Yeah.
And then he just left me with a thumbs up and then left it at that. And then he just unfollowed me. I was like, oh man, just because I didn't want one
just
book.
because you didn't like one book.
Yeah, so The Alchemist, if I put my actual opinion on there and post it, I'm going to also lose all the fly honeys that are following me. The
ones that thought you were so deep.
Yeah, the 7 fly honeys that follow me. A lot of them is chubby people and stuff, so it's fine. Us sexy people don't read. So, and nerds, people don't show their faces very well. Readers don't show their faces much. So, it's cool. And there's another book I won't post. It's called The God Delusion. I also won't post that.
What's it about?
We can't talk about that on this one.
You can't?
On this, yeah. I'll definitely tell you.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was a good book. I think it was good. The same way I think this book was so great. So thank you for the rating. 2.5 is actually, it's decent enough.
It's decent. It's like read it and give it your opinion.
Yes.
Yes. It's like, maybe it was kind of good.
My rating is going to go up after how you explained it to me. So,
really?
Yeah, but like point something. I'm not going to give you the whole number. Why? Not me. I'm not mad. And Have you read any of Paulo's other work?
I haven't.
They say his other work is good. If you open the book, since it's such a great book, it
Yeah,
tells you
I
what
see
other
that.
books
Yeah,
to
he
read.
has other books.
Yeah, there are some that I
I'm
would have
actually
read.
surprised because in that book it shows like the not excerpts but the back thing.
Yeah.
Well, when it shows, I don't know what it's called when they try to entice you to read a book.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. And I was like, okay, don't seem as interesting as
No.
is this his most
It's
loved
not.
book? It's not.
It's the most popular, but it's most loved. So it's you see, I've also got this thing where I don't follow
Yeah.
authors. I'll read whatever. If I happen to find this author again, cool. But I don't have a favorite author. Patricia Cornwell can still get it from me. But
You
don't tell me.
know, there is an author, I forgot which book of hers I read, but I read a book by Meg Cabot. I don't know if the T is silent because it's written Cabot.
Okay.
But she wrote, I don't know the name of the book. It was so good that I decided to follow her on Twitter.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name, but I haven't read any of her works
Other work,
since. But the book that I read was so good that I was like, this person is such a good writer that maybe I'll read one of her other books.
Yeah.
I read this one and I was like, maybe I'll get like a Meg Cabot book.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Get that. But the ones on here, from what I see, the recommendation, they could be 4 or 5 that are actually good.
Yeah.
But again, it's like you said, the cult following, the people that like the author will burn this episode. I can promise you that now. They're going to fetch us.
But you know what I also realized? I've seen on Twitter that apparently J.K. Rowling is controversial and people don't like her. But I read all Harry Potter books and
The nerd.
I don't hate her. I mean, I don't know what she did. I mean, maybe if I find out, I won't like her. But
it's woke culture is what happens
yes,
with
yeah,
J.K.
because
Rowling.
she did something unwoke.
Yes,
Yes,
with the Dumbledore thing, I think.
What did she do?
Did you not watch the movie?
Oh no,
It was
I
such
only
a
watched
distraction.
the Harry Potter
Yeah,
movies.
don't watch
I
the
tried
Dumbledore
to
movie.
watch what's that called?
Animals, extreme animals
something,
of
yeah,
the fantasy.
something.
What?
Yeah,
That's boring.
the what Fantastic Beasts.
Fantastic
of-
Beast. That's what I said.
of-
People are not
Yeah,
listening. I said
that's
Fantastic
exactly
Beasts.
what she said. Fantastic Beasts. 15 minutes in, I was like,
That's
no
trash.
ways. I was like, nah. Harry Potter was fine.
By far,
It's fine.
Sometimes they lose it. Sometimes you don't always have to put something on a screen just because it's got a following. Just leave it.
Because now there's a Dumbledore movie, isn't it?
I liked it, but
You did?
I liked it because there's the one character in there. And I was watching it with my brother, and we watch an hour into it. You're thinking, when is this movie going to end? And it's okay. So why I did like it was after that hour, like, yeah, but we're going to keep watching this because this lady is so pretty. And you just check my brother throughout. I'm biting his lip and I'm biting my lips. So I'm like, this lady is so fly. I completely forgot what the story is about.
Oh.
Yes, and what they didn't like, the cult followers didn't like was what was happening in there. That her role was not as important. The character could have still done this and that without her. And I think they pushed the other agenda of sexuality a bit too little, and it had to have been pushed a bit more. Because everyone knows Dumbledore is gay. So you didn't.
He is?
You didn't know Dumbledore's gay.
You know, that makes a lot of sense when you think about it.
You didn't know that.
I didn't, but
Yeah, so
but
they
when
wanted
you
her to
say it,
push
it
it.
makes sense.
They wanted her to push it really extremely hard, and the woke culture was like, you're not
you
doing
know,
enough.
if you were a gay character, you really have to be gay. Like, come on,
Yeah.
don't be half in, half out. Like I
yes.
am with the Alchemist.
Yes.
Just
Exactly. So
be in it.
That's what happened. Yeah. What would you recommend then if you're not going to recommend this great book? Is there a book that you really do like, a series that we should all follow? Except for Harry Potter. Don't say Harry Potter.
A series that we should all follow. You know, I don't know, but I recently watched a series myself, and I mean, I'm talking about me.
Grammar Police.
Yeah. I recently watched a series. I think it's a comedy. It's called Maggie.
Nice.
Yeah. And you didn't hear the premise, but sure. It's about a woman who is a psychic. Shocking. I know. It doesn't really get you there until she's at a party where she's like the party trick. And then she psychics a guy. I don't know what the word is for what psychics do.
I want to be psychicked now.
Yeah, like, she did her thing to people. It was real. And then a guy's like, oh, hi, who are you? And she's like, oh, I'm actually a psychic. He's like, oh, sure. And then she's like, I am, but people never believe me, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, why don't you psychic me? I mean, he didn't use that word, but that's what he was
what
saying.
I'm going to start using.
Sure. So she's like, fine, I'll psychic you.
Yeah.
She touches him. And then she sees, he's going to live a great life. He's going to have an adventure like the alchemist, who is not really an alchemist.
A great adventure.
He's going to be happy. And then there's going to be a pregnancy test. Like, she's seeing it, right, while holding his hand. And then in the end, she sees herself in the vision.
Don't say, I'm going to watch this thing now.
See? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She sees he's going to live this great life full of adventure. And she sees herself in the vision.
Maggie.
And you think it's what you think, but it's not. It's like, and it gets points for diversity because there's like an Asian person, a black person, she's white.
A lot of that, yes.
And the parents are like, those super weird,
quirky
really
parents.
Sexual couples that are
Italian.
Weird. They're like Italian, but not. And you're like, it's so weird how you guys ended up together, but it makes so much sense like that. Yeah,
definitely gonna check that out.
I think it's a comedy. It's cute and quirky, but fun.
Oh, you're the nerd. So you're the nerd giving us nerd things to watch.
Yes, nerd things to read. Yes, and to read. Yeah.
What would you recommend for us to read?
You should read like actual books that you buy at the store.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
such a nice person. My God. I'm glad you don't have to say that to a child.
Wow. A book to read that you buy at the store. I've read so many books. I've completely forgotten which books.
Okay. That's why it helps having an accountable buddy. But now that we know you could
read a blog.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll definitely do that. Everyone's reading.
I'm actually somebody's accountability buddy who writes a blog.
Oh.
So those who can't write, encourage others to write.
You're the best friend out there. You're the best friend we all need.
I am so great and so humble.
And yes, baby, yes. Where are the pictures, Josie? I can see. Why didn't you take a video of that? Thank you very much. I realized the producer told me I say thank you a bit too much, so he cuts a lot of the thank yous that I say.
Really?
So now I'm saying thank you for real now. Really do enjoy this. Where are the socials? Where can people follow you to see the kind of books you're reading, the nerd that people are into, that kind of stuff? I mean, that's usually what it's out there for. Also, I need you to follow me so that it looks like I'm doing the right thing.
I will follow you. Yeah. What are your things?
My things, I'm everywhere. So don't worry about me. So we can't find you on social. Are you even on social media? We know you're on Twitter, so because you kept speaking about that. So
I did.
It's fine even if you don't want to tell people.
I would actually like for people to not follow me.
Phone number?
I don't like people.
ID number? Shoe size number?
I don't want to be followed. I like people from a distance.
Okay. So I'll get people to follow you once you follow me.
Yeah.
Thank you. Her socials is just meet her. I think you're better off having to meet. Yeah.
I am on Instagram. I never post. I know.
Instagram.
And I am shockingly on Facebook and Twitter and TikTok.
Wow.
Huh. I just realized.
That's all you guys need to know. She's on the social, but she's not going to share.
I'm out there.
Okay, no.
I'm with the people.
Thank you. Your oneness. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much for that. Any dying words? No words to the kids and to the honeys that want to follow.
I will just say this.
And to the nerd boys.
And to the nerd boys, look, reading is cool and it's fun. You might get teased about it, but when you grow up, you will meet girls that read and they will appreciate it.
Same for the girls, but
Same
no
for
to my
the
daughter.
girls, but
No to my daughter.
right?
Big no,
And
that doesn't count.
also, it's good to have friends that read because somebody needs to know what's going on in the world.
Yes. Are you that friend?
No.
Yeah, body language says everything. Thank you very much. We appreciate and we out. So bye. Bye. No matter what he does, every person on earth plays a central role in the history of the world. And normally, he doesn't know. Read up on it.